Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Fraternity Justice for All. Last episode, we did the first part of the trial, where we got a lot of testimony and like evidence from it. And now we got Adrian Andrews to the stand, and now let's continue on to the next part of this trial. March 22nd, 2:14 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Dude, I can't believe that. Adrian? No way! Not cool. And collected Adrian Andrews. She is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony, during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it was really her? Yes, she is the real killer? She was the one who murdered Juan Carrera. I'm still not convinced. You might... I'm really still not convinced. On guard... I think he knows something about the killer. He's really trying so hard to hide it. Because I noticed it from like one conversation. And like... I don't know. But I still suspect something that he had to do it. There's no way like he's playing that dumb. Just to think it's Adrian Andrews, but we'll see. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial is over. You'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motives are related to Celeste Impact's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impacts as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it. Is Juan Carrera the victim of this murder? And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Carrera, all to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Who was that first told us about the relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impacts? It was Edgeworth. Looks like he's still in one command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. I'm still not convinced, but I really hope we don't put that motive into the court, or else we be betraying her. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls the witness appointed by this court, Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Carrera's room. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ungard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Oh, yes, sir. Sure, what is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. Oh no, I know what you mean! I never even heard of the Gossipland. You're trying so hard, Judge, but I'm pretty sure you're terrible at lying. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could tell us about the relationship of the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Carrera. I was aware of the rivalry between Matt and Juan, but this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was that a bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we understand your situation with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then, witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. When I found the body, it was the time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his dead body. I was in shock. When I was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo, I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing, and that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer. She has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman to be easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense, the instant this trial is over. Understood? It was the time. Okay. I gotta be careful then. And what was Mr. Unguard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Unguard did say he was taking a nap, and I guess you could say it could have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? What are you? Right. I thought years of school would have taught you to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Unguard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object. Right? Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, one was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship? Huh. Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon, what are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had more of a personal matter to discuss with the victim? Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at the time. Can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence like it. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? And there was his dead body. I was in shock. You were in shock? What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I bet she had romantic feelings for Mr. Kurita. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her not be in shock. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? Wait, if you poured yourself a glass, then how did you... You wouldn't be able to walk through the glass on the floor. That's very suspicious. Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Kurita, you were in great shock. That's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank. I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake, that one thing. What one thing? Never mind, it's no... What she started to say just now? Press further. Miss Andrews, I'm convinced that you said you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down in the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Oh, this is a new clue? Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally top of the dresser. When I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell into the guitar case. Why did you withhold such important piece of info? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume that the vase was just a part of the mess. This is a very interesting fact here. Please add this and have anything else you revealed to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over, which it fell onto the guitar case. What kind of flower vase was it? It was a glass vase. It was a fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take one's pose, so I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser, and that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase. That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself. That's what she would like people to think. Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and reality. It doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now. I warned you earlier, she would not crack so easily. The only way to make her is to keep on the offensive and not let up. The only way you're going to catch her is some very strong, decisive evidence. Find something I have to for Maya's sake. No. Let me see here. Empty. There is some water. Only a... Is it really tomato juice? Wait. Wait, this is a contradiction. You said you dropped the flower vase. And there's some water on top of the lid. Wait, did the flower vase have water? That's what I want to figure out. I think it has to do with the new statement. I think it has to be this. It was just water. Only on top the lid. I think this has to be it. Well, it's either this or this. You know what? I'm just gonna go for it. Fuck it. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. Are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there a problem with what I said? It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, If that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. What's wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shard should be inside. Okay. So, like, the contradiction would have just, like, made the crime scene even more further. What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yeah. Yes, that's right. She didn't implicitly say that she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be, however, I don't have anything. The empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details of the guitar case? Fuck it! Let's make her testify! The empty guitar case. I believe there's a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for the straws like this, but it is you. Can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. I don't remember too clearly when I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It was not a big deal though. The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. It looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any way to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. Fucking Edgeworth. During your testimony just now, do you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see. Are you sure you are the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like her dependent side is taking over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. So you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well, maybe. Why did you open the guitar case? Huh? Corita's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open the guitar case. As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about the bright red guitar? But getting back on topic. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, guitar was still inside. How long have you been in a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention. Just pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry. Is that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. Guess I should give it. Come on, Phoenix. We cannot afford to let up on her now. I wasn't planning on letting up, but she's at her weakness now. This is our chance. Yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with. I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found. Maybe it's the third statement. It's not a big deal, right? I'm pretty sure this is a big deal, but what do we present? Is it really just... Let's see here. Is it really the guitar? I feel like it's the guitar case. I think that's the only contradiction I see.
Objection!
There is no way you are the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Huh. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? Why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the awards ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, seems like the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That's strange. You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? If you were in his room... Oh yeah! You wouldn't need to wear gloves. Because you were holding the wine glass.
Take that!
I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Ah. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange? Did you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Yeah. Well, her glasses. Wait, she has a new pair of glasses on. Order, order, order! Looks like you hit your nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. It's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the bright red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case? But what was in the guitar case was not the bright... Really? You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So this was not wearing gloves despite the fact on the case? Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us into his misguided... No, Your Honor. Please, recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. Which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case had some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, right? Then I'm sure you could somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The only bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean it's just the black... So you intend to push your theory to that the case was not empty? Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something that I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? What? Is it? I want to believe this. Or this. The press conference ticket? And why would something like that be inside a guitar, let alone this one? Why, Mr. Wright? Why? Well, I just thought it might have been possible. I have a suggestion. Why don't you put that in the void where your brain's supposed to be? Yes, and never bring it out again. No, my life points. Can't a foolish fool get some love? What was in the case? Alright. Okay. I'm gonna disprove the button. Maybe it was her camera. The magazine clipping, whatever. Maybe the knife? I don't know. Or Lotta's photo? Maybe the knife? Oops. No, please. My life points. Beep, 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 beep. I think it could be the camera. No, the old bag stole it. Wait, hold up a second. Okay. I think it could be a... Oh! You know what? This is actually strange. Why is the costume in the guitar? Maybe the costume itself was in the guitar case. Yeah. That'd be very strange. Okay, now I figured it out. Jeez, it took me a while. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is that in that picture, Your Honor, in this picture, it doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is, inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the very hero's own costume. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right? Are you saying the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to do something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course, and Miss Andrews to hide her identity so she can make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone else see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your... Oh! Maybe she's just trying to... She just wore the costume just to make sure she wasn't suspected of murder. Maybe that's it. Maybe she didn't actually kill Juan. Or did she? Do you have anything to support your preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct? You mean this photo? Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. You know my strategy, speak first, think later. So the real murder was hiding inside a costume? Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai costume would have been Matt on guards. Why would something of the defendants be in the victim's room, and inside the guitar case of all places? Very true, that is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was stolen from on guard? It was a spare costume. Let's say it was stolen. I think it may have been stolen from Mr. On Guard. Stolen? But why would someone do such a thing? Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with the post-ceremony stage show. And so, if he didn't have his costume, then Mr. On Guard would be forced to go naked. Maybe you should be stripped naked and run out for making a mockery of this court. Excuse me? Mr. Matt On Guard did not take his costume off after the awards ceremony. He even testified that he took a nap while he was wearing his costume. Is not correct? Yeah, he did say something like that, didn't he? That's what I thought. My life points! Let's try one more time, shall we, Mr. Wright? Blah, blah, blah. It was a spare costume? Mr. On Guard did not take his costume off during his break period. Inside that case, the costume we are talking about was the spare one. What? Then are you saying that the night of the murder, there was 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. How do you explain the costume was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought the spare to the ceremony on purpose. Wait, really? But why? The victim, Mr. Corito, was the German ninja. Why would he secretly bring Nikolai's Samurai Oh, I think this has something to do with this confession. The press con- What could be the reason such a peculiar act? And there lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why would you think the victim had this Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. Reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume in the hotel was... I think it had something to do with the press conference ticket, right? What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. About this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. On Guard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. Well, how could that be? The way I see it, that can only mean one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. The spare nickel costume was prepared for that very same conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as this Nickel Samurai. He was going to dress as the Nickel Samurai hold a conference? Why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet, however. What I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt On Guard. Yes, I guess that would what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's a public disclosure. Miss Andrews, I could see why you're pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. So it's true. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared that second costume for him, that was also me. You? Juan bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. It was going to ruin him, huh? It looks like somehow Juan had in his hands a secret so powerful, it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? What is it? What is it? And do you know what this secret Mr. On Guard is, Mr. Andrews? She's not gonna say. That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. Oh, I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. On Guard. And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to the light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could please tell us about your behavior? Yes, Your Honor, I understand. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. This does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. I've finally seen her true self. She's more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind if you cross-examine Mr. Wright. It's like everything is somehow swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. Okay. Let's hope we can get something out of her cross-examination. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of your reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that something did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. If you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. It's like she's telling me how to do my goddamn job. He didn't teach that to us in school. At least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. So would you say need came from the press conference? Yes, you know why Juan chose that event in that hotel for the conference? Because that's when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt On Guard. And you knew of this plan, did you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference to prepare the costume. But I'm sure Mr. On Guard himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here was this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree, Miss Andrews. Please correct your testimony if you please. Grasp me at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive is, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Gunn done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You were the one who helped Mr. Korea with our press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. On Guard. And yet you still helped out. The person on trial right now is Mr. On Guard. Right? What the witness was thinking helping the victim with his plan is none of our concern. In any case, that means our defendant had opponent to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? But didn't you already testify earlier Matt on guard was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that too was a lie so you could cover from Mr. On Guard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. Oh, I keep trying, but there are no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. I can't say the same for some people in this courtroom, however. The judge is glaring straight at me. He's glaring at you, smart guy! Oh. Why is Phoenix Wright getting bullied? He can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought, and during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin' Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the plates of Matsukama, isn't that correct? I would think that this makes this very decisive evidence. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Yet goodness me, it can still look at me with an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this to your testimony again. Button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. And how did you know that? When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard. I heard that before too. Why wouldn't Miss Andrews know about this case down with a fine detail? Don't look at me like that just because I'm prepared and you are not. Ugh. And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here, but where and what? If I'm Matt's manager, I felt I had to protect him. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? At the worst possible time. Objection! Who's to say she's really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. On Guard at any time. Why would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Miss Career planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. On Guard as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears no ill will toward the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright wax philosophical power hour, and please stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems to be pretty solid. Really, because to me it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll need to press a little. You should notice by now, you need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk. Got it, Chief. I'm gonna pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. I think it's the fourth one. Was it really? If it was torn off, then how did it get inside the costume? Objection! Your Honor, this statement contradicts this. Okay, I got it wrong. It does? I don't see anything contradictory. Huh? Really? Objection denied. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright. Oof. Fuck, my life points is getting low. Whoops, that didn't go so well. Fuck, it's not the button. Okay, let's see here. Whoa, 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 whoa. During this fight? No! The autopsy report said he was strangled first with a scarf, and then he was stabbed with a knife. He would take the button thereafter, right? Or is it not? You know what? Fuck it. I'm going with this. Oh, I got it right. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off the costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There was no way that this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. Order! Order! What is the meaning? What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off of the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know that this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean that you know what the murderer wanted to do with the body? What was it? To pin the crime on guard. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. On Guard. There's no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. On Guard was set up by the real killer, of course. And the real murderer is... Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then? Finally, I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way to this point. Phoenix, you can't let yourself guard down yet, not until the very end. Real killer, the person who planned Mr. On Guard is... It's... you, isn't it? Fuck! We're not... I don't want to tell the court about Celeste Impact's thing. Take that! Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you! You are Mr. Corita's killer. What? My glasses! Order, 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 Mr. Wright! This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence to support your charge? Any evidence? All the evidence points to Miss Andrews. What? How preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then, what about this knife? Knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. On Guard naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints can be only taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew the knife to take was you. Then, what? What about the button that was on Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, Mr. On Guard was the real killer. There's no way he had put such incriminating evidence in his whole Hakama. Yeah. We almost got her. The only person who could put this button in Mr. Kakama is the person who went to wake him up from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was such a costume inside the guitar case? It could have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. That person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, She's crying. But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found in the guitar case, and it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right! That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. Anyone had to find out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. To top it all off, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth could believe this Nickel Samurai is Mr. On Guard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking about how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The laws does provide us a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can damage them to themselves. Yeah! I think we went too far, Phoenix. You probably went too far, Phoenix. Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. On Guard's room, Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think about hard what we just discussed. Understood. Alright. That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things look bad. Did a good job proving out everything up to this point, but there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done. What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What is so humorous, Mr. Edward? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corita. Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corita? I have this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting to your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it either way. You don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking the defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow, we landed in the worst possible situation. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Fuck! I think the game wants me to use... We're gonna have to break our promise, do we? Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defense's theory that she is actually the murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof, but that's not true. In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? I request both the prosecution and defense look further into this matter in tomorrow's trial. Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. You don't get a not guilty verdict today, then. Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya... But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. No, then this court is... It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you? It's true, Miss Andrews does hold the right to against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were to be something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but actually, there's one little thing I'm very curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds mine, they are shaken up not by stirring the glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I have already... Before you speak, I want you to state if you have a reason behind your actions. I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we may find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request, Miss Andrews, if you please. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room I saw in that messy state, and Juan, he was sitting slumped over in that tired looking in the corner. I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice, and when I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vases over. Oh. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim? Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on with that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you begin your cross-examination. We have no choice. We have to save Maya. But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then who did you pour it for? Mr. Wright, there's a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait till a little long to be revealed to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely, I couldn't have said it better myself. So it was a mess? Are you sure it wasn't a mess because of your fight with Mr. Kurita? I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. Grr. And then what did you see next, witness? And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. Slumped over? Yes, he was just sitting down there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he... That's very contradicting. Wouldn't you have seen the... Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd? When I saw him sitting there like that, didn't cross my mind. Then what did cross your mind? I thought that maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. Then he felt tired after taking his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought. I see, you didn't think he was dead at all. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first, but then the room was in such a messy state. I thought maybe he had gotten in a fight with someone. And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice? Yes, he always has a hard time waking up. So Juan always had a glass of tomato juice to drink. I see, after that, what happened next? How did you come to realize that he was in fact dead? I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backward. And knocked the flower vase over, so that's what happened? Yes. This is what it all comes down to, huh? This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now is our best chance to yet kill the prosecution's case. Isn't that a bit harsh? Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time? Which statement, though? When I saw him like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. No. No. I don't think that's true at all. Then what about the knife? Surely you would have recognized the knife. No? Unless you put it there, did you? You would have noticed the knife at first. If I say this, I could be wrong. I wanna say this, but I think it's this. It's the only photo that would matter. You would have noticed he was like stabbed, probably. Or was it after the murder? So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? Huh? Yep, the knife. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Kurita's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would immediately thought that here was a dead man. That's, well, you see, I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this someone who fainted, then someone nonchalantly pour someone to drink. Your point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer. No! It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. Defendant Mr. Matt Ungard is not guilty after all. That's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, yep, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. Then there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Ungard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually, Well, usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Because I don't think she did it! She was set up! Come on! I don't believe it! I don't really believe it! My verdict on Mr. Matt on guard. Your Honor, the prosecutor feels that it was premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. The absolute real truth? What are you? Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt on guard will go free, and in this place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? She lost it? Wait, whoa. This is new. Was she blackmailed? Fuck. She blackmailed by who? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrew lived by gripping tightly on the words onto another, but she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed a lightsaber by Miss Von Karma. Don't say a word no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Guard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging onto them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? Fuck! Do we really have to tell her the motive? The Celeste Impact's motive? Please! I really don't want to bring it up, because we made a promise to her. All we have to do now is get her not guilty, and that is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you, please, believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help. Please. Someone help me. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The court cannot continue like this, therefore I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? I really don't want you to bring out that evidence. Please. Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this case. Who the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else who could be crying except that woman they're crying over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Wright? Fuck! Fuck! Fuck. Let's get the not guilty verdict. We need to save Maya. No matter what she says, Miss Andrews is the only person he could be. Not to mention, I don't have a choice. I have to win a complete acquittal today or Maya is dead. Your Honor, the defense believes there's enough evidence to substantiate our claim. Therefore, we motion that this guilty passes a verdict of not guilty as soon as possible. I'm disappointing to you, right? What have you learned in this past year? That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this, however. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you are absolutely refused to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop. Mr. Edgeworth? Wait! No! Edgeworth, you know about the motive! You know about the motive! Fuck! Edgeworth, no! Please! Don't do it! Don't do it! This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide. No! Dang it. Looks like Edward. That was the one thing I was really trying to avoid. We kept our promise, but we didn't want to reveal it. Now Edward had to reveal it. Stop. Please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. Even Phoenix Wright knows the evidence. Huh, that's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you tend to do now, witness? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret dependent of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop. I beg you. People find out. People find out. Ow. Ow. If you're going to say you would choose death, that is no concern to me. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips, no matter what I have to do. Yeah, it's the prosecution's job to get the truth no matter what, too. Edgeworth just wants to know the truth! I didn't think he would pull this card. Will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please, help me. Nothing matters anymore. My crime. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room, and then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returned to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. That's why I ended up using the nickel samurai cost. So you didn't do it! So you really didn't do it! He was already dead by the time you arrived. Stabbed the body? So you just made the crime scene even worse with the knife? Well, why would you do that? So you're not the killer. You're not the killer, Andrews. Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man. What? What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim Juan created with chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock. Commence the cross-examination. I can't believe it. But you could tell us from the state the room is in. There must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. But that scarf is part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away that the murder was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan, to silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forward some evidence and pin this crime on Matt, So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was plant the knife. And that was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at the dinner had his fingerprints all over it. And I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes toward him. Matt was napping his costume on at the time. I stepped in and took the knife and returned to the scene of the crime. Then I stabbed once, blah blah blah. So you're the one to stab the victim with that knife? It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. That's when I stabbed Juan's dead body. I suddenly realized something. If I use the button somehow, I can make Matt even look more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it on Mr. Enguarde's Hakama? Yes, that's what I planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? An inconvenience. There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet at my specs it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. And that's Miss Oldbag for you. I had already been caught when it made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking myself and get caught again. That's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from the Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume, hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. What is the secret? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, that people would think Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. Made absolutely sure that I did not want anyone to know about the costume. I think we have heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Enguarde's room to plant the button? Into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word! What does all this mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Enguarde. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Francisca, huh? She said that I should under no circumstances confess to what I had done. If I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor! The defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. It's exactly. There's not a single piece of evidence that points to her to being as the murderer. Cross-examination of this witness is over, so is today's trial. You can't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. And that is all. Court is adjourned for today. No! Maya's dead. It's over, boys. Maya's dead. Damn it, Phoenix. Today's trial. It's over. And if I didn't win in a acquittal... Witness, you mind if I ask you something? Edgeworth, what is it? Before you leave the court today, I wonder if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Actually, is it Otis? Mr. Wright asked about this... Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now, I found this in the room that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card. It's a calling card! God dang it! Next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped into my pocket. It's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not. But it's still a strange card if you ask me. As far as a clue is to this case, I don't see why. Witness! That card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edgeworth knows what this card is? Edgeworth, do you have any idea what you have stupidly, yet inadvertently done? This! I can't believe you hid this from me all this time! I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it? What does it mean? What does it mean? But what happens to Maya? Wait, we need to know what happens to Maya. Maya's gonna die. Maya's gonna die at this point. Fuck. Alright, next time on Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Just for All, we're gonna continue on with the part 3-1 on investigation. Hopefully Maya's okay. See you guys all next time.